get their engines revving, I personally say more power to them. What I propose is that the over sexualization of an individual in those visual mediums exist for a reason, and we're going to talk about those sexual reasons in a minute. And they are adaptive functions of what make us human beings. Does that mean you can punch women? Technically, yes. You can. You can punch a woman. There's nothing saying you can't punch a woman. There's no law that says you can't punch a woman. Laws on assault dictate if you touch anybody, like with an excessive amount of force or whatever, without reason of provocation, then and or if you're not acting in a self-defense, then you're liable, man or woman. So the law dictates that you can punch anybody. So yeah, you can punch a woman. Now, cultural standards might dictate that you don't hit women. I personally have gotten into a fight with my ex-wife, where she got physical, and I chose not to get physical back. I stood there and let her hit me in the face because she reacted in such a way that. She was aggravated about a situation. She hit me, and I knew she wanted me to hit her back so she could feel justified for what she did. However, me having a little more self-control in that circumstance and realizing probably it was my fault for starting the fight in the first place, which I did. I was the provocator. I said something that upset her. And I kept pushing the issue, and it kept upsetting her after she asked me to leave her alone. And I kept pushing the issue, and so she hit me a few times. And I didn't want to let her. I wanted to talk to her. I didn't physically restrain her. I said, "No, we're going to talk about this." I just blocked the doorway. I said, "I want you to talk to me," and she hit me and told me to move, and I wouldn't move. So, giving context to that situation, I was struck. But I didn't hit her back, and I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of hitting her back. No. I was raised growing up that you don't hit a woman. Yeah, it's dishonorable to do so. However, I've seen circumstances where a woman has been completely unreasonable. Gabby actually shared a video of an Uber driver being assaulted by a female customer in his Uber car. I think he didn't want to drive her because she was intoxicated, or for whatever reason he felt like he shouldn't drive her. And I think he reserves the right to say, "No, I don't feel comfortable driving you. You need to call someone else. I'm not driving you." She was very upset. She was in distress because of some things that she went through with her family issues. Understandably, she was upset. She then attacked this man, and he physically threw her on the ground, and she ate shit. Like, she fell, and she fell hard. And she was later fired from her job because she was recorded attacking this man. Attacking him, and not just attacking him, she destroyed his property. She started kicking his car, she started taking things out of his car, ripping things up, smashing them, throwing him in the street, yelling, cursing, swearing, insulting him, demanding that she take him, and just acting batshit crazy. And this man, and when she got into him and tried to strike him, he held her and then threw her on the ground and tried to run away. He tried to run away. He was disengaging from a physical altercation, and he pushed her to the ground. He did not push her lightly. He shoved her, and she was unbalanced because I think she was intoxicated, and she was like I said, she was emotionally charged up. And like I said, she ate shit. Her head hit the curb from what it looks like. So, but she looked fine. She recovered. She got right up, and she was like, "F you, buddy," blah, 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 blah. She went right back to harassing this man. Was that right? I don't think that I think that man was accosted first. I think he was within his legal parameters to disengage from that fight and push her to the ground. If she started hitting him, if he wanted to hit her, she asked for it. In an age of equality, if you're going to demand equality, why would you say that there's rules dictating different? You can't hit a woman, but it's okay for her to strike you. It's okay for her to continuously beat on a man, and it's okay. I saw an actual social study that addressed this same issue, where this English couple, it took place in England, and it showed a video of a man and woman walking down the street. And the first video showed, and it was the same couple. And this man, he's strong-arming his girlfriend. He's grabbing her, saying, "You need to listen to me." And he was like shaking her and strong-arming her. He didn't hit her, but he was strong-arming her and shaking her and yelling at her. And he was very aggressive. People came rushing by the droves to say, you don't do that. You touch her again, I'm going to lay your ass out. They peeled them off her. They defended her and say, don't do that. When it came around, they reenacted this same thing on a different day at the same spot, because it's a popular spot for people to hang out. And then they switched roles. The woman was getting into an altercation with the man, and she started striking him and disparaging him and saying that he was a worthless human being. And he's like, I don't want to. Just leave me alone, please stop. I don't want to do this. And she would hit him with her purse, and she was striking him. And she was striking him. She was being much more physically hands-on, hitting him and engaging him into this physicality. And people laughed. Far less people came in and wanted to help this man, and instead they thought it was funny and something to laugh at. So it was funny to see like how domestic violence how it favors one kind. And you could say that, is that sexism? Yes, it is. Well, clearly men and women are not held to the same cultural standards. Clearly that's the fact. Sexism does exist, and it is perpetuated. Or I would say that elements of, I think it's more accurate to say that elements of sexualization was being promoted. You remember that? Okay, Gabby remembers. Okay, the video. So you guys are talking about other videos that you saw. Okay. It gives them time to do whatever. Just punch him in the gut. Give him a good old gut punch. So, but the reason why, okay, going back to the Anita Sarkeesian video, why did I show that excerpt of her saying, I'm not a fan of video games? Okay, let me show you one other thing that was really prominent of what she said. And we covered this. We talked about this a little bit when she did her women in refrigerators. Now, if you remember at the beginning of this video, let's listen to what she says. The beginning of the video, she says, blah, 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 blah. She says, I think it's right here. Let's listen. So I'm going to point this out to you guys.
Lantern, but thankfully Gail Simone did, because she began to...
Okay, so right there, she said it right there. I missed it.
Where Kyle Rayner finds that his girlfriend, Alex DeWitt, has been brutally murdered and stuffed into a fridge. Okay, well, I've never actually read Green Lantern, but... Okay,
there it is. So, I've never actually read Green Lantern, but... So, this is the second instance where she's been caught red-handed, speaking about an issue, speaking about a medium that she doesn't actually actively engage in. Now, why is this a problem? Why am I taking issue with Anita Sarkeesian in this way? It doesn't... Me calling her out on not being an actual authority on matters of video games or comic books, it doesn't mean that there isn't any truth to what she's saying. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. So when she says, I'm not a fan of video games, I actually had to learn a lot about them. So I had to learn a lot about them. Now, she as an individual was actually invited to speak to the UN on behalf of all women, claiming to be an educated feminist but her education is YouTube, BuzzFeed, message boards, and other non-credible sources. And then even the mediums she claims that aren't even credible sources, let's just say a YouTube video. She cherry picks information to support her perception. So this isn't so much a devaluation of Anita Sarkeesian, but the people that argue these kinds of arguments, they say, look at this stuff over here, it means this. But they have this one little bundle of stuff they're showing you right here. What they don't show you is the rest of the basket. And as a society, we need to look at the rest of the basket so that we can make an informed decision about these things. It's not. I don't know if Stepan. I don't know if she's a hypocrite. I don't know if I would call her that. She's very intelligent. she's at least, if she's not intelligent, she's very clever. She knows how to market. That's what she does. She knows how to market herself. She knows how to market an opinion. Because this girl made over $300,000 in fundraising funds to raise for her Women's versus Tropes videos. And her budget in the video, like the breakdown of the budget, there is no way in hell, when you look at the production quality of these videos, and these are not my words, I'm actually taking, this is an argument that someone else used. There's no way in hell that she used $300,000 that she made from just fundraising efforts for a Kickstarter campaign to create these videos, because they're very clean and they're pretty professionally done. The cinematography, the camera itself might not be full HD. It's probably a lower level camera. So where did the rest of that money go? Presumably she pocketed the money. So she's smart in the sense that she knows how to market herself. She knows how to market opinion. She knows how to say, okay, what are people upset about? They're upset about sexism in the media. I'm a girl. This kind of offends me when I see this stuff every once in a while. Why don't I make a product and brand it, and we're gonna say it's sexism? So she has successfully packaged sexism in the media, targeting women. She's targeting a demographic, and she's sold it, and she's had a lot of success making it. This isn't even the money she makes from doing talks at college campuses and stuff like that. She's paid to go to the campuses or as an outside consultant to consult on video game publishers on how to be more female friendly, to attract a female audience. What the reason why people have why men and why women and why people have a hard time dealing with people like Anita Sarkeesian is because they come off overly preachy. They dictate law. They influence policy when they go to if they're invited to speak before the UN. These women are dictating social policy. They create the laws that which we are governed by, and how the internet. This is why laws on the internet are now questions are being raised. Like, should anti-harassment laws be instigated on the internet? At what point can you ban an account, or how can you regulate comments on a YouTube section? Now, proponents of free speech says this is an infringement on free speech. And other people like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn say that they don't deserve to be harassed in such a horrible, god-awful manner. It's true. To say that these women aren't targets of harassment is false. They receive the worst kind of harassment that you can see. They're doxxed, they're threatened to have sexual assault perpetrated against them, all manner of vicious, disgusting attacks. Does this stuff happen to men too? Yes, it does. I'm not here to undermine her experiences. And should a person be subjected to that kind of bullshit? No. Unfortunately, not everybody cares enough to come out to a podcast like this and support a podcast like this. In fact, they're more inclined to go see what is happening in Dark Souls 3. They're more inclined to see what's more happening else on Twitch, because something like this isn't as fun to than looking at an issue critically. And if they do come out to the podcast, they want to only look at their opinion and have their opinion supported, and they'll pigeonhole this fact. In fact, earlier on when we started the podcast, a lot of people had misconceptions about this podcast and thought it was a pro-feminist podcast, and it only supported a feminist view. Didn't stay for the whole thing and bugged out. Unfortunately, they didn't hear the rest of the argument. And being fair, you have to look at all sides of the argument, and you have to give credit where credit is due. So, and while Anita provided a lot of Anita and many people like Anita provide a lot of credible examples, let's say, to support their opinions, it's still supporting their opinions and their biases and their perceptions. This is a very specific perception to have. And I personally feel like people like her, not just her, because she's not alone, obviously, because She has made over 300,000 people. You have, if you look at her video, she has